It's hard not to sing along with that, and I'm doing the favor of making sure I was singing in my head, not out loud. My name is John Engler. Thank you so much for welcoming me. If you don't know, I pastor a church over in Midland, Sanford area called One Church, and you guys have been a vital part of kind of walking through that with us. So thank you for braving it out in this snow today. I'm so grateful for you guys doing that. Also, those that are online, sitting at home, sitting by the fireplace, they're a good experience, but not quite as experienced as being here. But I just want to say thank you so much for so many wonderful parts of today. Thank you for allowing me to come and worship with you guys. I want to let you know something. I blame it all on my roots, that I showed up in boots, and I ruined your black tie. No fans? I felt like Friends in Low Places, like my head had to go there to like sing a song, something about friends. So literally since Dave has asked me about preaching, I've had like Friends songs going in my head. I've had the Friends theme song. I've had a lot of Garth Brooks going through my head. I've had all sorts of different, what's the Toy Story Friends song, You Got a Friend in Me. Did you guys do that through this? Matt? Come on now, right? Like, there's so many good Friends songs, but the Friends in Low Places always makes me laugh because when my first mission trip ever, I was 13 years old. I got invited to go with another youth group down to Kentucky to serve on a mission trip, and I was trying to fit in, right? And for some reason, that song, everybody on the mission trip loved that song. So our goal was we all had to sing that song by the end of the week. So I can't tell you what I learned about God that week. I can't tell you any super spiritual things, but I can tell you I can recite the entire Friends in Low Places now, however many, 30 whatever years later. And Garth Brooks would be proud. But really, the entire idea behind Friends in Low Places I thought was interesting. It was written by a guy by the name of Earl Bud Lee. If that is your name, I don't think you can do anything in life besides be a country music writer. Like Earl Bud Lee. And he wrote the song because he went to a restaurant. He was with a bunch of friends. They were eating out. And he realized he forgot his wallet. I feel like we've all been there. Right? And he kind of had that panic moment of what can I do? And this was before Apple Pay days, right? And all that stuff. So what can I do? Kind of freaks out a little bit. And then all of a sudden it realizes one of his friends is cooking that night at the restaurant. So he goes, guys, it's going to be fine. I got friends in low places. And all of his friends started to laugh, and they pulled out napkins, and the story said that they wrote the entire lyrics to the song on a napkin or on napkins that day. Because he had a friend that was a cook. It was kind of his rescuer, right? That's what we look for in a friend. I don't care how important your friend is, whatever it is. If you have that friend that's there when you need a friend, it's the perfect friend, right? I have friends that can do things for me that I can't do. I hate heights beyond everything. One of my best friends likes heights. He cleans out my gutters for me. I will do anything for him because I don't have to climb on a ladder more than 2 feet, right? That's what friendship is about. Different friends are planted in your life for a reason. And I need you to understand, you have an ability to speak into people's lives for whatever reason you are planted there for. God has planted you in other people's life to simply be a friend. And it may be a short term, it may be a long term, but God has planted you there to speak into their life. And you have an ability to do that. And that is an amazing ability to be able to walk through that. And I was thinking again of all the different friends from childhood days to present day and throughout this entire as I was preparing for today. And I was going through a few of those and I was thinking even how did I become friends with Dave? Right? How did you have all this stuff? Well, for myself, and it's been kind of a neat thing, is I've known Matt for years. I knew him back when he was in high school. I worked with his dad, Scott, at the radio station. And then from there, Matt and my friendship took off, and we got a chance to work at camps together in different times that I brought him in as a musician when I was speaking. And Matt and I, it just flourished into that. And a little over 4 years ago, I was in a really bad spot. We were looking at planting one church and getting it off the ground, and everything went sideways. And a couple weeks ago, I thank you for letting me borrow Dave because I invited Dave to come back to One Church because a couple weeks ago, One Church celebrated 4 years of existence. And that's been a lot because of you guys as a church helping us and walking through that stuff. But a little over 4 years ago, as we're getting to a point where I really was ready to give up on this vision, this dream that God had put in my life. And I shared that story with our church, and I want to share it with you. I sat there and I went, who can I reach out to? And I knew that Matt was here, and I'd known Dave through being friends with his brother, and I just randomly reached out and said, is there a way we can talk? Is there a way we can just go through different things? And they invited me over, and they even bought my lunch for me. It was like the greatest day ever, right? Like investing in something that I love, food, right? But in God too. But I mean, the food was really good. I mean, but you sit there and you realize how amazing that is. And Matt and Dave were there, and they walked through that and said, we have you in this, in our church. Let our church help your church become a church. And you guys have done so many things. And we walked through that. And they were planted for that. They were planted for that reason. It started there. And I think of like other friendships, like my friendship with my best friend, my wife. It was planted because she's hot. Like, let's be honest. I'm not like, she is beautiful. And I'm not like a jerk now and say that's all she is. Like, I've learned many different things. But the reason I wanted to get to know more about her was because of her beauty. I had a dream all my life that I was going to marry somebody like my wife. And there's so many weird coincidences about where she came from and all this stuff that it would be an entire sermon in itself. But God planted that in my life, and then it became my best friend. It grew in that, right? It all started because of her beauty, and then it grew to so much more, just like so many friendships. Or you can think of one of my longest friends, Dan. Dan and I have been very close. My wife jokes that we're kind of like middle school girls. We call each other often and like laugh and giggle and do all sorts of stuff. Like, he is literally the closest friend that knows things that I'm thinking before I'm thinking it. And he went into the military, and now he lives out east working. And we don't get to see each other often, but we talk to each other like 3 or 4 times a week. And his friendship was born out of literally, I had started going to a new church in Midland. I just graduated from college. I'm looking for a place to call home. And the pastor's son says, hey, do you want to come watch the Detroit Lions game with me after church? I said, that's great. And he's like, we're going to go over to my cousin's house. So being I like smaller groups. I like all of that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I get up the nerve. I go over to his cousin's house. I ring the doorbell, and he answers the door, and he says, hey, what's up? And I said, hey, I'm here to meet Nathan. Like, he said I could come watch the Lions game. He's like, well, Nathan's not here, but you can watch the Lions game. Nathan never showed. I stayed in the basement. I watched the entire Lions game. We watched the next game. We played Madden together. We did all this stuff. And at the end of the night, he said, hey, tell you what, if you want to stick around, or if you want to come back next week, whatever, we can watch the Lions game every week together. And our friendship was born out of his cousin no-showing on me and ghosting me, right? Like, it was this friendship that was born out of being there. But the important part is to understand that they were planted there in different seasons and different reasons. But they chose, and I chose, to keep them there. They chose to keep me in that friendship. It's a choice. It's hard. It's difficult to be a friend. It's difficult to walk through that stuff. But we continue to do that because they make me better. They work on that. The verse I want to share with you today is found in Proverbs 13:20. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. I want to be very clear. If I ever refer to Matt or Dave as fools, it's a different kind of fool than this. Right? Like, they're foolish. We've done dumb stuff, yeah, whatever. But we're not talking that. We're literally talking about growing wise and looking at the friendship in that way of, if you walk through life, if you surround yourself with people that are wise, that are going to invest and pour into you. There's times that I literally have texted Dave and said, it's weird, it's random, but I need to come over and grab lunch. And I think Dave now has figured out that usually means I have a situation that I need some wisdom on. Not because I want to come over and do something foolish. Well, yeah, but also I want the wisdom, right? Like, we want to surround ourselves with people that give us wisdom, that can speak into our lives. that can be there for us in those difficult times. And so again, as I've been thinking about friends and thinking about the series that you guys are going through, and I love this series so much, I love it so much I'm probably going to steal it at some point for our church. But to understand, I love the idea of like investing in friends and growing in friends. And as I worked through that, I realized that right now that's kind of the season of life, not for me and my friendships, but I'm working on my kids and being 13 and 15 years old. And those that are parents, if you've had a 13 or 15-year-old, congratulations. If you currently do, I'm sorry. It's a difficult season because you're walking through friendship stuff with your kids, right? My daughter's a freshman and figuring out the entire big world of being in high school now. My son is in 7th grade, and guys in 7th grade are just weird and awkward and mean to each other. Like, right? Like friendship, and I'm trying to walk through that and to explain to them, yeah, when you're in elementary school, elementary kids, everybody's friends and the teachers teach them to all be friends. But then when you get to middle school, you're like, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but you do have to be nice to everybody, and kind of trying to walk this fine line of helping them find their group, helping them find their people that land in their life, that speak into them, and help them become wise in their decisions, help them grow in their faith. Help them be so much more. And I think back to my years and the struggle that I had with friendship in middle school. I've shared many times, and I've probably even shared it here before. In 7th grade, I have a hard time saying I was cool because I was never really like cool. But I was like, I hit my maximum capacity of coolness. Does that make sense? Like I wasn't in the cool crowd, but I was like 1 tier or 2 tiers down kind of thing. And I was like, oh, life is great. And then 8th grade hit, and really weird situation, and literally got made fun of by everybody. Hated 8th grade. It was the worst year of my life. And as I grew into my friendship, going into my freshman year and trying to figure out friendships and having people speak into me and say, hey, this is who you need to be, like leaning and finding my group of people that I wanted to do life with. And walking through life. So does anybody, when a big thing happened, does anybody else go to Acquire the Fire or know what that is? I know besides Dave. Okay, Acquire the Fire was this big like youth conference. And I went to Acquire the Fire and I was like, this is great. My freshman year, I went for all the wrong reasons because there was a cute girl that I wanted to go to with. Right? Like, not the reason you should be seeking after God. But then as it grew, I went to this conference and I loved it. And first year I was in a church and it was a few hundred people. By my senior year, they moved it to the Breslin Center in Lansing, and it was like packed house. And the speaker, Ron Luce, that you'll see here, and this is in that Lansing one, and I don't know why we didn't make fun of him for wearing camel pants and all of that. But right, like, it's a packed house. It's a huge group. And Ron was just this amazing speaker. Invested in kids, worked in telling you like, hey, this is what you can do. And he was big on telling people about God. And here I am in my senior year, and he excuse me, he sends us off to Lansing Mall and says, I want you to go tell people about the love of Jesus Christ. I'm a senior, kind of leaning into my faith, trying to figure this out. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I get the $10 that my pastor gave me for lunch. And you were supposed to like grab lunch with somebody and talk to them about the love of Jesus and buy their lunch for them, because back then $10 could buy 2 meals at the food court. Now it'll buy like a sampler of like one something. But right, like I'm at the food court and I'm supposed to buy this. And instead what I do is I buy 2 lunches, one for me and one for me later, right? Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can't talk about friends. I can't talk to these people about the love of Jesus Christ. And so I'm so embarrassed. And I go back to the next breakout session, and Ron shares with everybody and he says, okay, how did that go? And excuse me. Everybody's talking about all of these aspects of sharing their faith and doing this. And I'm like, I got no story. I don't have anything. And so then he goes and he says, hey, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. I want you guys to, when you go back home, I want you guys to give up on some of the friendships in your life. I want you to get rid of these friends. And I'm super lost in my head because I'm sitting here going, wait, we just went to the mall and told everybody about the love of Jesus Christ, but now I'm supposed to go back home and get rid of all my friends? And I get what Ron was trying to share, and he was trying to share like, hey, there's people that bring you down and they're not really friends. But at that age, I couldn't quite understand that. And I just went, well, I'm supposed to not tell my friends about Jesus, but I'm supposed to, and I was really lost on what friendship even looks like and what this even understands of what that is. And I started to like land on finding my people and understanding I wanted to share my faith. I couldn't do it in the mall, but I could do it to my friends. I could invite my friends to youth group. And it was an amazing thing that happened through our youth group. And I'm not saying it's because how amazing I am. I'm saying it because how amazing God is. Because as myself and my friend group, we said, we're going to start talking and we're going to start sharing people. Our youth group went from a youth group of 6 kids to a youth group of 50 plus kids. Because we were willing to share and be friends with people and share about the love of Jesus Christ. Because we all inspired each other. We all grew each other. We all were there for each other. So as I dove into what friendship looks like, I was trying to find words that would really describe, and I was trying to find words that would describe what friendship looks like and what I want you guys to take away from today. And I wanted to find a word that Dave would never use. So I went back to the 1800s, and I found the word gird. Yes, the word is gird. And I want to know who is in your gird group. Let me explain to you what the word gird means. There's 4 different parts of the word gird. The first one means to secure. Like when you wear a garment or a sword. I know we always wear swords around town. We do in Sanford. I don't know what you guys do over here. But you're supposed to have gird. You're supposed to have something that holds it tight to you. To secures it to your belt, to your body. The second part of gird means to surround or encircle. The third one means to prepare oneself for something difficult or challenging. And the fourth one is out of the word girdle. Yes, now I feel like I'm talking to like retirement village right now. You know, Martha, what a girdle is, right? Right? They cinch in, they do that. They emphasize the good parts of the female body. Let's just call it what it is, right? Like it makes a woman look better. So as I look through all these things, and I'm like, this is perfect. The word gird is what I'm looking for. Because this is what I want you to have in a friendship group. This is what I want in my friends. I want somebody that's going to be there to secure me. To make sure that I'm taken care of. That those parts of me that are loose ends, they're holding me close to that. I want a group of friends that are going to surround or encircle me. So when I'm hurting or damaged or lost, and I'm struggling with something, they surround me and they make sure that I'm safe. That's what friendship looks like. The third one, right? Like they prepare oneself for something difficult or challenging. I want my friends to make sure that I'm ready, that I'm prepared for when difficult situations happen. When difficult situations come my way, my friendship group is there for me. And the last one is I want friends that make me look good. And that's a hard job. But right? Like friends are meant to do that. They're meant to make you look good. They're meant to make you look and bring out the best parts of you. It is an honor to be in somebody's gird group. It's an honor to be that for somebody. I want to share with you 2 people that are close knit in my gird group. They don't even know it because I just found that word this week. But these 2 guys are in my gird group. Their names are Ben and TJ. Ben I've known for a long time. He was actually in my youth group when I first came back and I went to that church and I started helping out with the youth group. He was a senior that year, and Ben and I became really, really close. And we've been there through difficult times. He helped introduce me to my wife. He was there and talked to me in ways that only I could understand and hear. We were in each other's wedding. Funny story is, I was the best man in his wedding because that same kid, Nathan, that no-showed me, no-showed Ben's wedding. And so at the last minute, Ben said, hey, you want to be the best man? I think there's kind of a history track with that kid. But right, like, and there's all of those aspects. And Ben has been there through thick and thin. And we may not see each other for a while, and when we don't, that's okay, because we picked back up right where we are. And he knows how to speak my language. I watch him invest in my wife and my kids and be there for them. One of the things our family does every year is we run the Michigan 5K where you get to run into the big house. And Ben is a runner. He is short, runner build, perfect runner. Like he's in the 5K times of like 18, 19 minute times. Ben finishes the race and I don't even get to the starting line yet. But when I finish the race, Ben is always right there with me. He's always waiting. And he's always cheering me on like I just set the course record. And he's like, I'm so proud of you for finishing. I'm so proud of you. Like, he just has that ability to pour into it. He is that type of friend that we all want to be and that we all long for. The other one is TJ. TJ walks through life. We coach a lot of sports together. Our kids are the same age. And TJ and I are around each other often. And the part of his friendship that I want to emphasize is TJ has this ability to make people look good. You may have a conversation and you have the outcome, I'll say my part and whatever, and I'll say, does that make sense? He's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't agree with it, but that's okay. And he has that ability to speak my language and always make me look good. And at the end of the day, one of the truest forms of friendship to me is both of these guys, when people are talking or saying bad things behind your back or talking, and people always talk about you in some social circle, right? I know that these two guys will never be a part of that. Because I've seen it firsthand. I've heard about it firsthand. Where if somebody is saying, oh, John is da-da-da-da-da, they're the first two that will always defend me. And will always help people understand where I'm coming from. That's what true friendship looks like. And that's what we need to be when you're looking for your friends. When you're looking for that aspect. When you're trying to step out of the comfort zone. And I get it, because there's people right now I get in this room that are struggling with friendship and going, this is the perfect series. I needed to hear this because I needed to know what I'm doing wrong and what I need to be looking for. There's people at home that maybe you're struggling going, I really wanted to come to church today, and it wasn't the snow, it was the idea of just going and making friends. It was too overwhelming. And that's a huge, scary first step. But you lean into that and you find people that are willing to do it. You find people that are willing to sit by you at church, that are willing to come and be there and be your cheering section. This quote hit me so much this week. True friendship is when two friends can walk in opposite directions, yet remain side by side. When I can go one way and my friend can go the other way, and you can feel like you're side by side, that you know they are supporting you. When you either disagree or whatever happens, or whether it's physically, emotionally, whatever aspect of that, you're separated, yet remain side by side. And I get, as I read that the first time, I thought of the love I have for my wife and our friendship, and knowing that I want her to always be on my side and be there for me. But it also is relative for all friends. And the love that we have for friends of going, I want you to be, even though there may be a separation, even though there may be whatever, I want to know that you're there with me. That we remain side by side, that you have those situations. In 1 Corinthians 15:33, Paul is talking to the church of Corinth here, and he's really reassuring them, and he's talking about, this is right during the resurrection of the dead, and explaining why as Christians we believe in Jesus Christ, and the fact that we're going to be able to sit there, and he's talking about people just doing dumb stuff and saying, it's fine, you'll be fine, it's no big deal. And he has this bit of wisdom. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. When you surround yourself with bad people, your character goes down. I remember in college, the dean of students, I had some friends that used to be not the greatest people on the campus at Taylor University. We became friends, and they cleaned up their life. They were hanging out, and I remember the dean of students called me to his side one time and said, John, I'm really concerned about you because of the people you're hanging around. And I explained to him, no, they're no longer doing those things. And he still didn't believe me. And I was trying to explain, no, it's a group of strong Christians that are trying to help these guys. And he still struggled with it. But it was that entire idea that who you're around is going to make a difference on your friendship and on your faith. It's not just about having friends that are there for you and make you laugh and make you smile, but it's about friends that are going to continue to help you grow in your faith. Friends that are there in our good company to help provide that wisdom, to help push you in your faith, to help you push you in your God story. And I get it right now. There's some of you at home and there's some of you in this room that are saying, you know what, you don't understand. I've been hurt. I've been hurt by a friend. I've been hurt. Like they don't deserve me, my love, my care, my whatever anymore. I get it because I'm telling you, I get it in other parts of this jobs and whatever too. But I'm telling you I've had almost every job imaginable. One of the hardest jobs to have friends is being a pastor. And this week alone, I was gut punched by somebody that I would have called a close friend, that I never expected it to come from. And it hurt. And I wanted to give up on friendship. And I'm telling you, last Sunday, when it happened, I did give up. And I got mad. I got mad at God even. And I said, God, I'm supposed to speak in a week from now about friendship. And one of my friends just literally punched me in the gut. Not literally, emotionally, whatever. Punched me in the gut. I can't talk about friendship when I'm struggling with friendship. How am I supposed to stand in front of anybody next week and explain what friendship looks like when right now I want to do things to a friend that I shouldn't as a pastor or human or anything? But how do you get by that? And my friend group, my GERD group, came around me and they prayed with me. They talked to me. They let me vent. They let me share my side. They brought some perspective. And healing started happening. I went from, and again, I'm not trying to say you go back to horrible situations. I'm saying sometimes we need some perspective in the situation. And I spent some time praying and I said, God, open my eyes the parts that I messed up on. Because I know the parts they messed up on. But God, open the eyes to what I've messed up. And I continued to pray that prayer. And little by little, some of that healing. And I'd love to say, oh, now we're friends again. That's not the case. But our friendship is healthier than it was last Sunday. In the midst of my anger, in the midst of my frustration. And I get it if you're in that spot. And I think God is calling us to so much more. To look for those friends that are those things. But I think it's also important to realize we live in a world that everything is too easy. It is too easy to walk away from a friendship. It's too easy to give up. It's too easy to throw it all away. And I'm going to be honest, it's exhausting. But we're called to be exhausted. Jesus showed us that in the way that he mentored the disciples, his friendships here on earth, that it was exhausting. And it's okay to lean into that and realize it's difficult to be a friend. It's difficult to be the type of friend that Jesus calls us to be. It's easy to give up on friendships. I see it all the time in my own world, and I see it all the time in people I talk to. It's too easy to give up on that, and you're called to so much more. We're called. It makes our call that Jesus has reminded us should make us want to be a better friend to others. Should want to show them what the love of Christ looks like. To forgive those situations that you right now can't even imagine forgiving. That's what being a friend and that's what choosing your friend should look like. Is growing in that and understanding. So my hope for today is, if nothing else that I've said today or Dave or anybody has said over the last couple weeks, my hope is that this will hit you. And that you'll understand, no matter how you got there, no matter how you became friends with somebody, being a friend gives you a privilege of speaking into their life. And it is a privilege to be a friend to somebody, and it's a privilege to have friends. Don't take advantage or run from that privilege. Speak into their life. If they've hurt you, talk to them. Pray with them. Share with them why that hurt. Continue to grow. Because that's what God has called us to be as followers of Christ, as friends, and as people that are just doing life together. That's my prayer for you guys. That you'll understand what friendship looks like. You'll understand that friendship is so vitally important. And my hope is if you have broken friendships, that you'll find a way to restore those, and you'll find a way to surround yourself with better people, and you'll be better for those people. Pray, won't you? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this morning. Thank you for a chance to worship together. Thank you for a chance to come and worship with this church, with the people at home that are listening. And right now, I know, God, that there's people in this room that are struggling with friendships, that are saying it's just not fair, it's just not right. I get that. But God, help us heal. Help us understand that you've called us to more, to not be part of this world, to not just fall short like Paul was talking about to the Corinthians and fall into that's the way the world works. But yet ask you, God, what is it you'd have for us. God, continue to help us grow in our friendships and that we may reflect you to each other in all that we say and all that we do. It's in your name, amen.